So welcome everybody to another episode of Chocolate Travels. I'm Joseph with Bean to Bar World, and I'm here with Tammy from Au Chocolat, based in Alberta. So hi Tammy, nice to meet you.
Hello, nice to meet you too.
You're based in Alberta, in a small town just north of Edmonton there.
Warrenville.
Morning. And so let's learn about how you got into craft chocolate and why you decided to start your own bean to bar business.
My first discovery with real chocolate happened it was around 2012. I had taken a sabbatical, pulled my kids out of school. We went to Hawaii on Big Island, and we stayed at a little organic farm. I got really acquainted with the plants in Hawaii, fell in love with the culture. Long story short, one of those plants was definitely cacao. A friend of ours actually had bought like a cacao fruit and had brought us, or God had given us that at a market and cracked it open, and my mind just went banana, and my taste buds. It was so delicious, and it made such an impression on me. That led to investigating more about chocolate and what it really is. Years later, it was around 2018. It was actually when Hawaii was erupting, and there was quakes, and Kilauea was just spewing lava, and that's my. And during an earthquake, we had booked a tour at a cacao farm, and shortly in a short distance from Hilo, they had shut down the town. And I looked at my daughter and I said, she's like, okay. So we proceeded, and we drove through an earthquake, and we got there, and it was mind-blowing. And that became the first of other tours, of course. But it was that aha moment of standing right in the jungle and looking up at the cacao trees and the fruit. It's just so beautiful. Actually, I will show you.
Oh, okay. Beautiful.
This is my little inspiration. So we were given some of the fruit to eat, and I haven't looked back. I came home from that, and I was in a former career, actually, with it was fundraising. I had a fundraising event. Our family raised $14 million, and it was because of my youngest daughter had cancer, and really took a toll on me to the point of breakdown. So hence the sabbatical,
right,
leading us to that aha moment. I got home, and that was it. I needed to learn more. I was hungry for knowledge. So I took my first bean to bar course, and there was no food preparation, none. It was just studying genetics and the farmers, the soil components, terroir, and then getting acquainted with chocolate from all over the world. So we purchased like 12 different samples of chocolate all over the world. Well, I had a trunk, and there was like about 70 pounds of chocolate in it. And bananas. So that brought me onto this journey. I haven't looked back, and I've been obsessing about it since.
Okay, wonderful. Wow. Sounds like a very inspiring, very passionate series of events that caused you to end up making chocolate. And where did you come up with the name Au Chocolat?
Well, our family's French. Au chocolat is really, it's like au gratin or au jus. So with chocolate. And at the time, it was my mind was racing on all these different bonbons I could make, and fruit, and boozy, and all these flavors. So it was with chocolate. We'll
Mm,
have
mm,
um and it
okay.
started off, ironically, we're here today, and I'm actually moving more away from that and moving more towards just chocolate, um, more towards truffles, and more towards really appreciating terroirs, so the
Mm,
the flavors of the regions, and so, but that's how it started.
okay. So you create bonbons from your own bean to bar chocolate as well. So that's a lot of work. And anyone who's made their own chocolate bars knows that going the extra step, making the bonbons is a lot of work. So hopefully your customers appreciate all the work that you put into those. And so what challenges did you face early on when you were making chocolate? You had to learn a lot, you said. What surprises did you learn along the way as you developed your business?
uh Surprise one, I did not know how exhausting it would be, because unlike a chocolatier, of course, um, chocolatiers buy their couverture already made. So when you're making your own, you have double the work. So I'm still here 4 years later,
Mm,
experiencing the issues of exhaustion,
mm,
working 7 days a week. Um, but for me, it's worth it. There's no comparison to from bean to bar to um, couverture. That's
right. Yeah. It's a totally different way,
totally,
totally different conception of chocolate. It's hard
yeah.
to compare. Yeah.
And one of the challenges of using your own chocolate to make bonbons is you have to, so for each region, you have to pair a certain flavor. So a certain fruit or a certain, type of filling that has a flavor that really complements the flavor of the chocolate.
Right.
So that's a really challenging thing as well.
Yeah.
So when you accomplish that, you do get a very tasty bonbon. It's beautiful, but there's something lost, and that's where I'm leading toward now. Is you lose the flavor of the chocolate because you've got the filling.
Mm,
So
mm. Yeah, because that flavor that comes from the really good quality cacao that you bring out through the roasting and the refining, it's so special, you know. You don't want to interfere with any other flavors. You want people to appreciate that. So that's
yeah,
sort of because I worked as a chocolatier for many years too. And as I got more and more into fine chocolate, bean to bar chocolate making, I struggled with that idea. You know, I like the purity of the bean to bar, but I also like mixing and making ganaches and all that. So
yeah.
yeah,
I'm looking for a balance of making more truffles,
yeah,
less less bonbons, but more,
mm,
the grassroots of it. Here
mm,
is Nicaragua, try it.
mm,
Here's so yeah, I'm actually in that transition now where currently I have 90%. Oh my goodness. Oh, 90% of my bonbons are my bean to bar. But after I only have a couple bags left of couverture, and after that's gone, then
nice, wonderful.
yeah.
Are people there in your town in Edmonton, like in that region, are they familiar at all with bean to bar concept? How do locals respond to your chocolate when you go to markets? What's the feedback you get?
For the most part, when I mention it's bean to bar and what it is, people are surprised,
Mm,
as I was, as anybody would be. You don't really realize. Um, on the same thing is that people, you can't appreciate how much work is involved unless you're right in. So for me to try and explain, there's a lot of work that goes into this. I can't even. You have to be there, and you have to experience the fatigue and the sore bones and all that. Right? But when people do discover that this is bean to bar, it means I've made this chocolate from scratch. And I have a lot of examples um, of the different origins. So for example, I have, here's some Mexico, try this.
Mm,
And let's move on to Vietnam. Let's move on to Nicaragua. Once they try, and I do give the samples at the market, then it clicks. Oh my goodness, I've never experienced this in the store.
yeah.
And
And
then
people are
yeah,
surprised how, not just that they are different, but how incredibly different they are from each other.
very much, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
For me, it's between roasting and the final process. It's 6 days. So I know I take a little bit longer uh, with my chocolate preparation, but of course, then you're using smaller machinery, everything's smaller, and it's harder work. So you don't just, it's not a factory, right? So it's a lot of work. But
Exactly. You're doing many small batches, you're changing gears a lot. That's what adds to a lot of the time. You're not doing production in high volume. So that makes a big difference.
I have great customers, like the customers that have tried the chocolate and have that appreciation for it. They are they're excellent.
Mm.
I'm lucky. I have very, very good customers that are very open to, discovering what that is.
So what are the challenge then marketing? What are the challenges in marketing your chocolate there? What sort of things do you have to do? What sort of ideas are you trying to get across?
It's still like this is probably Morinville is probably not the area where you're going to have a deeper appreciation for the finer foods,
Mm.
right? So it's trying to get that point across of this is a fine food. This is not, dollar store chocolate. This bonbon is $2 because of the fine ingredients and the amount of work. So getting that across, I have a lot of experience in marketing
Mm.
from my career, but that said, I don't have a lot of time for marketing. So that is another challenge.
Mm. Yeah.
Trying to set up, make a post, and get it out to the people, and it really doesn't really capture what you're doing. So I'm struggling with that.
Yeah.
Um,
Now I can
but yeah,
understand that even when it comes to, posting things online on Instagram or even like adding something to your website, a blog, man, it takes so much time. And sometimes at the end, you're like, for what? Like a little picture with a blurb. It's, I don't know how people do it so frequently. It just, it is a lot of work. And to do it properly and, get the picture right. And like you said, it never conveys really what you're trying to get across.
no, and I wish I mean I did a lot of that in my former career. So I wish I had the time, to keep up with a blog because I have so much to say, but there is no time.
Yeah.
And so it is really I'm finding it's really one person at a time.
Mhm.
Coming to me at the markets, but then I can really explain things. I want to start doing more tasting events, but it's really it's my desire to capture more people outside of markets because that said, markets are exhausting.
Mhm.
Really, really are very tiring, and the whole process. So for me to market outside of a farmer's market platform, that's important to me so that I can fill orders and maybe connect with people in a different way.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe more like passive marketing where you don't have to be there physically to be doing something. Because markets, like you said, it's true. They are very exhausting because it's almost like for a business, you're doing a presentation for half an hour, maybe an hour. That's a lot of work. There's a lot of work that goes behind it while you're presenting. Imagine doing it for however long the market is. It's basically a presentation over and over and over for 4 hours, 5 hours, whatever it is. Yeah, that's very
yeah.
tiring.
And then it's keeping your bonbons and your chocolate, especially during the summer. How do you keep them at a constant temperature. So
Hmm.
tracking, I run into that a lot. I use ice mats, I use fans. Even despite that, um, it's the transportation of the bonbons to the market, and then oh my gosh, there's a little temperature change back home, and I keep all of my bonbons in wooden boxes in a fridge, so I have
Mm.
several.
Mm.
That's how they stay fresh, and then they are transported that way straight to the market that way.
Right. What are the values of Au Chocolat? What is the driving force behind what you create?
My values, of course, I think about the Amazon, the forest, the forestation that is being plowed down for
Mm.
various unethical reasons. Um, Chocolate grows in the Amazon, so it's about supporting that chocolate industry, supporting those farmers. Those farmers work so hard. Um, the beans that I buy is through the Mexican Arabica Bean Company. Everything's direct trade, so everything's fair, and that's important to me. I have 3 degrees, 3 different certifications in nutrition.
Mm.
For me, making it from scratch using organic beans, organic sugar, um, making something tasty, something that makes people happy and yet nutritious at the same time.
Mm.
That's and supporting that. Even my own coloring, for example. So I use a powder, you're probably familiar with this, but it's a natural um, plant-based coloring that I mix with cocoa butter. And I mean, those have its challenges too, besides being expensive. But for me, the footprint has to be pure. Um, right from right from the bean to even cleanup, which I
Mm.
mean, cleanup is huge. And I know a lot of chocolate goes down the drains um, with this industry, not in my case.
Mm.
So I'm careful about that. And so sustainability is really important.
Do you think that it's important for craft chocolate makers to diversify their product range beyond chocolate bars? And you kind of already do that with the truffles and the bonbons. Do you think that's important to running a successful bean to bar business? Is more product, different types?
No,
No?
I think if you're a good chocolate maker,
Mm.
um, you have a market to fill
Mm.
your bars, right? That's the purest form. I diversified because I love to explore. I'm adventurous.
Mm.
That's in me. But no, I think it's important to keep it as pure as possible.
Okay.
Talking about cacao, I have gunny sacks full of cacao shells.
Mm.
And so just about a month ago, I was refining some Mexican beans, and I thought, you know what? I've been hearing a lot about cacao husk tea.
Mm.
And I always thought it was kind of gross, so I dismissed it. And then I entertained it. And so I made some. I double roasted it. I made some, and I was pleasantly surprised with it's really good.
Mm.
So I am actually entertaining the idea of selling cacao, like the husk tea. And then I have it's another work process, but then I have the finer dust and everything that's captured that's great for soil and
Right.
nutrients, right?
Mm-hmm.
Put
Mm.
husk on top of soil is not something that I can be a part of because dogs, if
Mm.
they are all over it, and then they can die. It's can be lethal.
Mm.
So I'm trying to use every portion of the bean now. It's too late for all my big sacks,
Right.
um, but that's something
Yeah,
I
it's interesting. I mean, with the cacao husks, some people worry, sometimes you got to make sure that it's a good source, they're not contaminated or anything like that. And I've had some cacao tea that's really good, and then I've had some cacao tea that's really gross. So if yours is tasting good, that's a good sign. It really depends on the beans that you're using, I guess,
Yeah,
how you process them. Yeah, but some people could do a really good job with that, definitely. And then, like you said, mulch, getting it sort of back into gardening and earth and all that is a nice way to reuse them. What aspect of your work is the most fun? Which do you find, and which do you find the most tedious? So the two different aspects.
fun is it's the same thing.
Okay.
So chocolate is fun because it's exciting because every batch is slightly different. It's a different batch of beans. It's the roasting could be slightly different.
Mm,
So the outcome, so I get really excited about that. But it's tedious at the same time. Fun is creating something new and also sharing that with people. So for example, at a market, when somebody is excited about a product that I'm excited about, I'm all over that. Like that fuels me. What doesn't fuel me is cleaning molds. And I will show you. I have, this is only one
oh wow.
wall.
Yeah.
I have molds and molds and molds and molds.
Mm,
And I know some chocolatiers don't clean their molds, but I do.
mm,
It's exhausting. And when we're on the subject of cleaning,
mm,
this isn't a factory. So if you're a small chocolate maker and using small machinery, things are not shiny.
mm.
You're not going to walk through a shiny,
Right.
finished space. I can have a glass finished space, and in with a half an hour, it feels like it's falling from the roof. I'm scraping my floors. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Um, and you're using a heat gun to clean, to melt it first before you can clean it. It is exhausting.
It is. I remember, working in kitchens as a chocolatier, and the cleanup was just it was a big deal, scrubbing everything. Chocolate gets everywhere. Like you have to around the edge of this and that. You got to get the heat gun, and it's quite tedious. And the water always has to be hot. You can't clean anything with even a warm water. Everything has to be super hot. And I remember a chef was telling me he was in France, and he was watching this famous chocolatier there. I don't remember who it was. And he said they spent just as much time cleaning every day as they did actual production, which says a
Yeah,
lot. Yeah.
like my day it's about 2 hours of cleaning.
Yeah.
So I get up and I clean for about an hour, and then at some point during the day I'm cleaning more, and by the time I go to bed, I I can't. I'm
Yeah.
like laid out at the clock. That's it. And yeah, and it looks the same right away. You start production again, and as careful as I am to try not to, but I mean, I'm really fast when I'm stirring, and
Mm,
it's done by hand. So I mean, you're getting little droplets of chocolate.
yeah. And especially if you're spraying, if you spray your molds, whatever it is, that stuff gets everywhere, no matter what. Even if you have a little cabinet or cupboard, that spray gets everywhere.
It does. It does. I actually ended up getting a little spray booth,
Yeah, yeah. But even so, it
but
gets in the air, and then you realize later on it's all over the wall, the ceiling over time. Those little droplets go everywhere.
and then you have to ask.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's interesting. Yeah, it feels like when you're in a chocolate kitchen, it doesn't feel like a kitchen sometimes. It feels like you're in the trades or something like that with all the gear. Yeah.
It's true.
All right. So
Yes.
let's see your kitchen or your
Okay.
facility.
I turned down my big melange. We have some Thailand
Mm,
going in here. So here's my nibs. I just do it a little bit at a time. But even though the beans are really clean, before they go into the second grinding process, which I use Vitamix.
Yep.
I'm still getting the dust.
Mm.
You can see.
Yeah.
Then it goes into here. And of course, then it comes into here.
And for people that don't know, why do you pre-grind the nibs?
Because it's easier on the machine.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it takes much less time, like you're cutting down your time significantly.
Mm.
So here, this is Thailand, but these will be the next. And these ones are these are roasted. This is Nicaragua.
Okay.
And I find that it's a really popular one for dark chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
The beans are, yes.
Nice profile.
Yeah. So then they go into my little winnower or my little cracker, and then here's my winnowing machine.
Okay, nice.
And then the graveyard, where all the husk is. And even that, okay, I'll start here. Okay, so here we have Thailand. These nibs are squeaky clean. So you give this a good shake. I don't like the taste of dust in my chocolate. And I'm using a Vitamix here. So forgive my hands. But we're going to do a pre-grind.
Okay.
I'll just do a small batch here. And then on it goes.
There you go. Nice. Yeah, the Vitamix is really good for that.
Okay. And I have to be quick about this because this will solidify.
Mm.
And in it goes. You can see it gets caked on.
Yeah.
But I have to do this gradually. This chocolate here has been refining for about an hour.
Okay.
So that's what's going on there. Yeah. But we'll go back to here. This is Nicaragua. So first you know what the steps are. So here's my
Those are some nice plump looking cocoa beans.
They are, they're beautiful. Put them in my cracker, turn it on.
Nice and quick.
Yes, and this does get messy. So I keep my floors squeaky clean in here. And then this is my winnower, so turn on my vacuum.
There they go. So satisfying to see them be separated. I love watching that.
And then here's the capture. I call it the graveyard. And here's the husk.
Yeah.
So from here, this is where I'm making this tea.
Mm.
Is I actually do this a few times. And then we're left with this. And this is great for the gardens.
Yes.
So no more waste. But I just added an extra step of work. That's really not. So yeah, that's like just a little hiccup of the whole process.
Thanks for showing us.
But you know what, I thought about, my first couple of years, I did not have a winnower or a cracker. So
Winnowing is very tedious. That would be my pet peeve. If you
I
don't have
used
if
to
you don't have a winnower, yeah.
exactly. And I used to put my nibs in a stainless steel bowl with a tarp outside
Yeah.
and a hair dryer. It would take me 2 hours.
It's fun at first, but not if you have to do that every day.
Yeah, and then it becomes not fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. What are your future ideas? What do you have any plans? Do you want to just keep doing what you're doing? Or do you have any, you said you always have something in the mind. So what are some of those ideas?
So my first number one idea is to work smart and not hard.
Mm,
So that is a strategy. And I need to figure that one out because this is not sustainable. It's not sustainable to work 7 days a week all day long.
no. Yeah.
So, and I'm not a spring chicken either. So I have to figure that out. One of the things that's bogging me down is I have to make a million flavors of everything.
Mm,
And that, of course, preparation and setup for different colorings, different this, different that, it takes so much time. So I'm going to be narrowing down
yeah.
how much product. Um, and eventually I probably won't carry as many origins of chocolate, but right now I'm carrying a lot so that people can try different.
Mhm. That's a good point too, is like you have a lot now, see which ones are at the top, which ones don't sell, and then sort of cut those off and focus, to help you out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so I would, as much as comfortable as it is working at home, it's uncomfortable because I don't have space. So I'm in my master bedroom right now. I pretty much sleep in a closet like a bat. And then the room downstairs is, again, it's my production room. I've renovated a bathroom or actually taken everything out of it to put fridges in there. And I have no room for storage.
Mm,
So
mm,
so working at home is convenient, but I don't have I can't expand.
right,
And
right.
so that's a challenge. Also, did I mention delivery? Delivery is also a challenge. So taking the time out of your schedule of producing to go and deliver your
Uh,
chocolate.
yeah, if you're delivering, not a courier, then yeah, definitely. That takes a lot of
Yeah.
time.
So I have some great stores that have been carrying my products, but
Nice.
in it's it's hard because you can't control their environment, their temperature, or
Yep.
for a flower shop, I have to protect my chocolates with extra care so that they don't take on the scent of flowers, and
Mm,
then the topping in your car and delivering. And that's I do have friends and family to help with that, but it's still
mm.
so that is my ambition one day, is to actually have a storefront where I
Okay.
can.
What is the best way for people to reach you, whether they're, in the town you are or in Canada? How can they contact you and how can they experience your chocolate?
So I have a website, so auchocolat.ca. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram, so contact me on Messenger. I haven't given out my phone number because my phone rings too much as it is during the day. It's hard to stop, while you're mixing chocolate and
Yeah.
talking on the.
Yeah.
Um, but yes, message me. I do events. Um,
Okay.
any. I'm excited to talk and talk about chocolate and share the
Mm,
journey,
mm.
share what's good about it. Um, so I'm an open book.
Wonderful. Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Tammy. Thank you for teaching us about what it is you do and opening up your space to us and learning all about that. I wish you a lot of success there and hope you continue to produce a lot. And I hope a lot of people in Alberta get to try what it is you're creating.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Tammy. Yeah, all the best to you. Take care.
Bye.
Download the free Bean to Bar app to connect with incredible chocolate makers from around the world. Also, be sure to visit beantobarworld.com, your portal for all things fine chocolate, virtual tastings, free learning resources, research, and much more. Subscribe to the newsletter to stay in touch, and donate to the free app and free resources here. Contact me for any chocolate-related questions you may have.